Oh, I just shared the meaning of life while you couldn't hear me, so it's
That's
all good.
right.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Adam Walker. Um, why don't you just tell everybody who you are and what you do before we get started?
Oh man, that's a really complicated question. Let's see. I always start out my bio with a husband, father of five. So that's always my focus. And what I do a lot of things. I've got a podcast company that turns podcasts into marketing content for companies. I do marketing consulting and fractional CMO work. Those are kind of my primary things. And I've got a small software company that I'm trying to grow on the side called Together Letters as well.
Nice. And
And
I would.
also like board work for 48 and 48. I guess I should probably
Oh,
mention that.
right,
Yeah.
right.
A lot of board work. A
We
lot of board
founded
work.
that organization together.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah.
this is our 10th year.
Is it 10? Really?
I think so. 2015, and now it's 2024.
That feels old, is what that's how that feels. Yeah. I feel like I
Crazy.
should have small kids right now. And all the small ones that started 10 years ago, they're not
No
small
doubt.
anymore.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Mm.
All right, listen. Let's get into this right now, right out of the gate. You ready?
I don't know what
Fir-
I'm getting into, but all right.
First question for you. Do you believe in ghosts?
Do I believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what kind of podcast episode this is. I have I've not given that any serious thought since I was a teenager. So I'm gonna go with I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I don't know that I want to say a definitive no, but I don't know that I could say yes either. Well, why do you ask?
Well, I'm just curious. Like, what do you think, man? I mean, you think there's literally think there's ghosts all over the place right now?
No, I don't. I seriously doubt that.
You
No,
doubt
that
that.
seems unlikely to me. Yeah.
So like I'm with you on that. I think that's kind of crazy, but what about people who say they've seen ghosts?
Like seen or been visited in dreams? Like what like let's define what you mean by seen exactly.
Well, I mean, have you not ever met anyone that said they've like seen a ghost or talked to a ghost or any sort of strange thing like that?
I do have a family member that said that they had a UFO experience to some degree. So
Mm.
yes, I have met people that have experienced to some degree what I would call it some kind of supernatural phenomena, but I don't know that they could tell you what it is, and I for sure couldn't either.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange though, right? Because
Have you
there's
seen
people.
have you seen ghosts?
No, because they're not real.
Do you know people that have seen ghosts?
I
Like, have
do.
you?
I
You
do.
do.
I
How
do.
confident are they in their seeing of ghosts? That's
I
what I want to
mean,
know.
100% confident. That's
But okay,
what's.
the problem with memory, right, is that its memory is fallible, and so you remember the last time you remembered something. You don't remember the actual event, right? And so, like, I could sit here with you and be like, all right, we started 48 and 48 10 years ago. You remember Joe that was at our first meeting with us, right? And you'd be like, no, I don't remember Joe. And then I could start describing Joe, and you'd be like, oh yeah, Joe. That was actually Joe Kaufman was at our first meeting. So that's probably a really bad example, but you get my point,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I think people believe like they know what they sort of want to believe, and then they sort of work their way into believing it because so I think that's distinctly possible in that scenario.
Okay. So we're going to agree that ghosts are not real. Is that what I'm hearing?
Sure, I'll go with you. Sure, yeah, that's fine. I'm not
Uh,
going to fight the battle that they are. That's for sure. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, look, who knows? But I just feel like if ghosts were real, we'd see them all over. Like more people would
I
experience.
mean, they would be growing at some kind of exponential curve rate, right? So there should be like billions and billions and billions of them just all floating around. The square footage density of ghosts would be just enormous by this time, right?
Yes, absolutely. Right. You would imagine so.
That's a
Uh,
phrase that I never expected to be saying today. The square footage density of ghosts, by the way, just for what it's worth. So,
yeah, I did. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, sort of. All right. So on the same note, I have another question for you.
oh God,
Do you
I
do you,
don't know if I want another one.
do you think that talking to plants actually can help them grow?
I think there's actually been scientific studies that show that it can,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Come
Now,
on. Come on.
I think very likely those studies are skewed in the sense that if you're talking to a plant, you're probably taking far better care of the plant than you would otherwise. So I'm assuming that that has something to do with it. But I believe there are studies around that to some degree show that. But again, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think they have said that like because to your point, if you're somebody who's, who likes their plant so much they're talking nicely to it, they're probably also taking better care of it. But
Yeah, because you're
I
like
do,
looking at it on a
I
daily basis or
I
whatever
do
basis.
think there's studies though where they're like, this plant over here, they just shout at it and tell it it's an ugly plant, and then the other one they tell it how beautiful it is, and the other one grows more. But that can't be right. That can't be a real thing.
I wouldn't think so. But then, I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe the vibrations in the air based on the yelling. I don't know, man. I'm not scientific enough for that.
All right, so we don't believe in ghosts, and we don't think that talking to plants can help them grow.
It
That's what I'm
feels
at.
unlikely.
All right,
Yeah.
what's your take on coleslaw?
I I like it as long as it's not too mayonnaisey. So if it's like I like the old school Chick-fil-A coleslaw that they got rid of. Like that was a good one. I like that one a lot. They don't have it anymore. If it's not too mayonnaisey, it's good. If it's super dry, probably not good. So it's gotta have some in between there, you know?
Yeah, no, it's
Do you have a preference?
no matter
It's
how you slice
disgusting.
it.
It's
Yeah.
just disgusting.
Oh, it's so
It's
gross.
really just that you don't like vegetables of any kind.
Oh
Really. That's
no.
really what it is, right?
No, no, I like plenty of vegetables. I just coleslaw is not a vegetable, is it?
Mm. Well, I mean, it contains vegetables, right? Like
Sure.
it, like
Sure.
lettuce and whatever. So carrots. I don't
Yeah.
really
Oh,
like
so
carrots that
sick.
much, but
It's so
–
gross. It's so gross. Okay. Let me ask you this. Are you a fan of the Oxford comma, or do you like the other way? And I call it the other way because I hate the other way so much I won't even look up what it's actually supposed to be called.
So I wouldn't say I'm a fan of it, but I do actively use the
Do you
Oxford
respect
comma.
it?
I respect it and actively
So
use the Oxford comma. Yes.
just so we're speaking the same language. So if I said I like trees, comma, coleslaw, comma, and ghosts,
Yeah,
have that
I'm down.
comma. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
down. Yeah, I'd
You
keep
would
the comma
never,
there.
because
Yeah,
otherwise it's I like trees, comma, coleslaw and ghosts. Like that
yeah,
doesn't
like
make any
that's
sense.
weird. It doesn't make sense. It's not how we speak. It's not the right cadence. It messes with your eyes. I'm not a
Right.
fan. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And I
Yeah.
have trouble respecting people who don't use the Oxford comma.
You read their emails and you're like, oh, you missed the Oxford comma. You're dead to me. Is that like that's
Not
kind of your basic?
missed. No,
No,
no, no, no, not missed, but like
you
actively don't,
you
again, I don't know.
actively didn't use it. So they have to do it like what? What's your minimum threshold? Like 3 times. If they don't use it 3 times and they're dead to you, is that the rule?
No, because they could be messing up 3 times. I need to know if
Oh,
that's what they
okay.
believe.
Right.
Listen,
It's a philosophical question for you then, is what you're saying.
it is. I feel like the same people who don't use the Oxford comma probably believe in ghosts. That's what I'll say.
There's definitely a correlation there. Like I can't imagine there not being,
I
really.
can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. Okay,
Yeah.
good. I just wanted to make sure because we do work together, so I need to make sure that
Yeah.
you're an
You probably should
Oxford.
have checked on that a decade ago. I'm just saying. Like if you
I
felt real
probably
strongly
did. I
about it.
mean,
Yeah, that's probably it. You're like, Adam, can you write this phrase that I'm working on right now? And yeah, see what
all right.
happens. Yeah.
Here's a unlike the other questions, a random question.
Oh, good. Okay. I
Okay.
was concerned.
Finally, what were you doing 3 hours ago?
What was I doing 3 hours ago? 3 hours ago, I went to Sprouts grocery store. So I was
Sprouts
grocery shopping at Sprouts grocery store, buying some necessities that the regular grocery store does not have that my family requires. So yeah,
Is Sprouts more expensive than a Publix?
for sure more expensive, but also has like a wide variety of healthy So Sprouts is kind of like an in between Publix and Whole Foods. It's like a go between for us very suburbanite people that don't have Whole Foods lying around.
All right. What was one of the
Yeah.
things you had to get there?
Well, let's see. I had to get 2 different kinds of yogurt for one, and grab some dried mangoes for myself as well, and maybe some candied
Oh man,
ginger. So yeah,
dried mangoes are the best,
I'm telling you, they're amazing.
but
So
not
that's
sweetened, right?
no, just
Yeah, yeah.
straight up dried.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah,
can eat.
it's like a fruit. It's like an old school fruit roll up, like when you and I were kids. Like that's what it tastes like. But
It's
it's
so good.
fruit. It's the
Mhm,
best.
mhm.
So yeah.
The other
Mhm.
thing I like is frozen dark cherries as like a
Oh, I
dessert.
know you love those. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
tried those. I haven't really gotten into them, but I'm working
No.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the way.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Let's see. How I was trying to remember if I knew this about you. How casual are you with emojis in your texts?
So I tend to not use them very much. I tend to use do the very old school one, like the semicolon parentheses as
Oh,
opposed to
oh,
like
like
using a
I
proper,
see. I see.
yeah, just because it's easier for
Mhm,
me. Like
mhm.
it's more natural, it's easier. So other than that, I'm almost never use them at all. Do you
Oh
do you
man.
use them a lot? I
Oh,
don't
well, I wouldn't say a lot, but
I
I
don't
do like to
recall
use
getting
them.
a lot of emojis from you. Should I be concerned?
No, I mean, I've sent you definitely some of the what are they called? Like the images,
Yeah, okay.
like memes and stuff. I have done that to
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
quite
no,
a bit.
memes for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a little
No, I like
different. I
an
like memes.
emoji. I like an
Yeah, okay.
emoji. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
like an
What's your
emoji here and
favorite
there.
kind of meme?
I don't know how to answer that. How do you classify memes?
I mean, for me, it's gonna be like something related to The Office. Typically, is my favorite. Like
Oh, oh,
the
oh.
image with the like text over it. Like if I'm looking for something to like make my wife smile before a test, I'm gonna go for something from The Office. Like that's kind of the go-to.
Now, when you said that, it sounded like you were about to test her, and I know the real what that means. Why don't you explain that so people don't think you're about to test?
Text. Did I say test? I
Oh, I
meant
thought you said
text.
test. Okay,
No,
before
no, no,
wait,
text.
before you're gonna text her?
No, text her. Oh, sorry. Text her before a test.
Yeah,
She's in
before a
nursing
test.
school. Oh, she's in yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So
She's
she's
in
in
nursing
nursing
school.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Working hard. So,
I was
getting
just
those A's.
picturing you with these like mental tests or tests of faith you throw into
How
your
many
wife.
times can you fold this piece of paper before it's the size of the Empire State
Okay,
Building?
we got to
Checking
get
this. Yeah.
serious here. We got to get
Okay.
serious.
I thought this
Okay.
was serious, but
I
okay.
I have you heard like would you rather questions?
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's something that you probably don't know about me, which is that I actually invented those. I used to do that exact thing in college. So this would have been when we were on the bus trips and tennis.
Okay.
I would do would you rathers to my
Yeah.
teammates all the time. And then
Nice.
like 10 years later, a book came out and a game came out and all this stuff. But
Really missed the bus, man. Was it from a teammate?
no, no,
Oh, okay.
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. But they could have heard it. They could, hey, look, I'm certain I created that. So that's just
Okay.
one thing.
That's
But
good to know. Yeah.
I do have one I want to ask you. But here's what's funny. I actually looked some up just to see. One of the would you rathers was, would you rather be a teacher or a clown? And I
That
was like,
I
what?
don't
What
what kind of comparison is that?
I
That
know.
doesn't make any sense at all. I have to choose teacher,
Like,
hands down,
right.
all day long.
That's like, how could
40 times
somebody,
over. It's not even a debate.
it's one of the great jobs, and then you're going to
I
compare it
know.
to being a clown. I was like, pretty.
Yeah.
But here's
Weird.
the question I have for you. Would you rather have an obsessive, insane person love you or hate you?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think I'd have to go with love. Yeah. Yeah,
Is
it
that
seems
right?
well, I mean, it seems like if an obsessive, insane person hates you, your life is for sure in danger. I mean, if we're just like looking at like,
I've seen
on a
Fatal
base
Attraction
level.
though.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's true too. You love you so much that it becomes fatal, right? But
I mean, they're
I'd have to go with love. Yeah,
obsessive, insane.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I think
I'm still gonna go with love because it's still I if I have to have an emotion coming my way, I'm going to choose love over hate. Like that's just by default.
Oh, you
Yeah.
brought in some sort of spirituality into this.
Or philosophical thinking for sure. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna bring love into the world versus hate. Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know how I would answer that one actually. But either way, it's pretty scary, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Fair.
scary.
Fair. I don't think
Um,
that's likely to ever happen to me, so I feel like I'm probably in a good spot.
you never know. You never know. Joe Kaufman, he likes you quite a bit.
All
All right, I got another one here that someone asked me recently, and I thought I'd pose it to you.
Okay.
If you were an action figure, what accessories would come with you?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm looking at one.
If I was an action figure, what accessories would come with me? So I'm gonna say with I'm gonna say like maybe like a lasso for like catching people, like bringing people together,
Bringing people together. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. That's at least one.
Not a fedora.
Well, I mean, I just figured the fedora's already glued to my head. Like I don't, is that an accessory? I just figured it's a part of the it's a part of the
All right.
plastic casting
I don't
for it,
know.
right?
I guess
Yeah.
I guess not. I guess you but I would
I
yeah,
mean, if
I
we're
would
gonna go
want to
that
take
route,
it
like
off.
glasses, a beard, maybe a beard like clips on, like not Play-Doh, like Lego, it'd be kind of cool.
All right. Okay.
Um,
So a
now fedora
lasso.
works, yeah.
I did not expect lasso.
That's just the first thing that came to. I mean, a shield came to mind too, but I'm not really sure. I don't have a good reason for that. Like that's just the first thing that I thought of, but I don't.
Hmm.
So I think the lasso actually, at least there's some purpose behind it.
Because you as you said you want to bring people together.
I mean, like that's what we did with 48 and 48, right? We like brought people together. We
Hey.
common cause, built a whole thing around it. So
Okay.
yeah, I think that's kind of fun.
All right. All right, I got three more questions for you.
Okay.
So I don't. You watched the Super Bowl. There
Oh
was
yeah.
that one with what's her name, and she's talking to somebody, and they start talking about which one of them might be a robot.
Oh,
So yeah. So
that's right. Yeah.
how would you convince someone or a robot that you're not a robot?
Oh man. I don't know that you definitively can convince someone you're not a robot, really. I mean, that's the reality of it is that it depends on what you think about like programming and all that sort of thing. But I don't know that there's a good argument to make because you could say like, oh, well, I'm flawed in this way. And you'd be like, yeah, but that's programming. You're programmed to be flawed in that way. And like, oh, but I've changed my mind and evolved my thinking in this way. And you'd be like, yeah, but your algorithms grow and they learn and they, whatever. So I don't know that you can prove that definitively.
You don't know.
Yeah. I mean, is there like an answer you were looking for? Is there like a super secret code or something I didn't know
I don't
about?
know. That
Yeah.
surely not because the robots would
Yeah.
figure that out.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
there's probably some logical way to break down that you couldn't possibly be a robot. I at least I have to imagine there is, but I don't know. I
Well, I
thought
mean, there's the like. I mean, you're familiar, and I don't know how deep you want to go into this conversation, right? But you're familiar with the whole like, are we living in a virtual reality
sure.
theory, right? And so for the longest time, like Neil deGrasse Tyson basically said, like, I don't know. You can't convince, like, I don't know. Like, it's entirely possible that this is a virtual reality. And I think more recently he's come out and said, well, either there's really two possibilities, right, of the virtual reality. Because do you want how deep do you want me to go into this conversation? Because I can give you the whole premise here.
Give me two sentences.
All right, so two sentences. The concept is that a civilization becomes so advanced that it creates a virtual reality that's indistinguishable from reality, and then that reality creates a reality that's indistinguishable from reality, and so virtual within virtual within virtual into infinity is the idea, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
And
makes total
so,
sense.
from Neil deGrasse Tyson's perspective, either we are the first civilization in that chain that has yet to get to virtual reality that's fully indistinguishable from reality, or we are the last in that chain with the virtual reality that has not quite developed, becoming indistinguishable from reality. And he chooses to believe that we're the first in that chain. So that's his. But again, like back to your question, there's no real way to prove that. Like, there's not a logic argument I can say, well, because of this, we're not a robot or we're not virtual reality.
Right.
Man, we just went real full on nerd there. I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
you wanted to go that deep, but you asked. So
Yeah, no,
I'm just saying, yeah.
But it's I mean, this is just an example of humans having too much time on their hands, isn't it? Like this is
What, this
crazy.
podcast episode or
Oh yeah,
like
for
just
sure this podcast
this,
episode.
like, because I mean, in all fairness, Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's hard to say he's got too much time on his hands though. Dude is brilliant.
No. I
but,
mean,
yeah,
he's great. I love his
yeah,
YouTube clips and stuff. But no, I
yeah.
mean like, sitting around wondering if we're in
I think ghost chasing is too much time for sure. Like
What
that
is?
would I'll go back to ghost chasing. Like that's your first. You've got too much time on your hands when that's what you because there are people that, like they actually like go like ghost hunting and they take like recording devices and light sensors and all kinds of craziness.
Yeah, but think about this. If you really do believe ghosts are real, you
Yeah.
have to be doing that. I mean, you
I
can't live in a
guess.
world where you think ghosts are real and then not try to find them. Right? I mean, that's crazy.
That's like saying like there's diners on your sofa, but you don't ever look. Is that what you're saying? Like that kind of an idea?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. That's a good
You
point.
got
Yeah,
you got to hunt them up.
compelled. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I want you to think about this. This is a question that has pondered people for centuries. How many owls would you need to see in one day to become concerned?
Man, that's a really interesting question. I mean, I think three or more is the threshold, right? At some point, like yeah, like
Mm.
three, like if you like, and by I mean you're like you're outside, like you see the physical because they're imposing creatures, right? And I've had an experience with an owl, and man, it was a little disturbing. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I think three or more, and I'm running for the hills. I'm locking the doors.
What's your owl story? I don't know if I've met someone who has an owl
Yeah,
story.
yeah. So I was just getting home one night and pull up. I was living in a house, pull up a driveway. The headlights kind of poked up, or like pointed up into the trees. So I noticed that an owl was there. So I went and grabbed a flashlight. I've never seen an owl in person before. Walk up, kind of under the tree. Poke the flashlight up. Point the flashlight up. I'm looking at the owl. Like, wow, that's a really large, scary looking bird this close. And then like something rustled over to the side and there's nobody else around. Like it's a completely silent night, no noise whatsoever. Something rustles over to the side. I point the flashlight over there, just see what it was. Nothing there. Obviously, it's like a squirrel or something. Point the flashlight back at the tree branch. There's no owl, and there was no sound of any kind whatsoever. And I'm like, you start looking around, like, oh my God, what's happening? Am I getting attacked right now? And then like I was done. And you run inside. So
I
that
did
was
not
it.
know you had owl issues.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, it was traumatizing, honestly. So,
Yeah. And what would you do though for real if you like, all right, let's say you woke up and you in the morning you looked out the window and you like saw an owl on a tree. Okay, that's sort of one thing. And then you said
that's a little
three.
weird in the
So then
morning,
the
but
next,
yes,
so then
okay.
you're driving your kids to school or walking the dog, and then you see another one on a, sitting on a pole or something.
Yeah,
And then later that day on the way to Sprouts to get your
yeah,
nutritious foods, you see one on a on a stop sign. All right, so now you've seen three owls in a day.
yeah.
What's going through your mind, and what do you do about it?
You have just described the opening scene of a horror movie for sure. Like, there's no doubt that that's what you just described. I don't know what you do. I mean, I think you come home and you like get like you better have a go bag. Like
I
you
don't
get ready. Like I don't know what's gonna happen
ready
next.
for what?
I don't know, but like I'm
Uh,
gonna I'm gonna have a knife nearby and some flint for fire. I don't even know what flint looks like, but I'm gonna have something for fire. I mean, I don't even know.
you Yeah, it's interesting because I've asked this question to people before, but I don't think anyone I've asked has been as terrified of owls as you. So mostly this conversation is like, that's really strange. Let
Yeah.
me start Googling like if other people are experiencing that. You're like, this is the
Not
apocalypse.
that's like listen, if you see three random owl sightings within a short period of time, there's something horror. It's the beginning of a horror movie. Very clearly, you're being hunted. Something terrible is gonna happen. That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
that's so that like I feel like seeing three owls. Okay, during the day, three owls in that period, you're more likely to see a ghost. Like you are more likely to experience a ghost than that. That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah. It always comes back to the ghost. Okay, last question. Last question. What is your deepest, darkest secret?
what is my deepest, darkest secret? I don't know how to answer that on a podcast that I don't know where it's going to be published and to who's going to listen to it. I think if I'm being very honest, I start my bios with I'm a husband, I'm a father of five. I think you said secret, not fear. I was going fear. I'll finish that thought though.
Yeah,
My
finish it up.
my my deepest darkest fear is to not do that well.
Hmm.
That's the deepest darkest
You,
fear.
you worried Jessica's going to listen to this?
She listens to absolutely zero of my podcasts,
Hmm.
so I am not in any way concerned about that. But deepest darkest secret, I don't know that I have a good one. I'm a little too open. Yeah, I'm a little too like this is it. This is what you
Yeah.
get. So.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't really expect you to answer that one. But one day
Have
someone's
you ever
going
had
to.
someone actually answer that one?
I've never
Honestly,
asked. You're the first person I've ever asked that to. Because you know what? To be honest, I don't think I want someone to answer that question actually. Because
that's
I
a
don't.
fair point.
Now I'm a culprit to whatever deep dark secret they just shared
So
with me.
if I'd have been like this one summer in 97,
Right.
okay,
Exactly.
I was at the pool and I accidentally drowned,
Right.
and the
Yeah.
body
Now
is,
I'm.
yeah,
Yeah. Now
you're,
I've got to
yeah,
do something about
yeah,
it.
you got to do
Now
something with that. Yeah,
I
you
got
don't
to
want to
take
know.
action.
Yeah.
So, listen, Adam Walker, I appreciate you chatting with me. If I were to
Incredibly
title
random.
this podcast episode, what do you think it should be called?
Let's see, maybe random questions for the hat guy, or
I mean, the
ghosts,
lasso
or
guy.
yeah, the lasso hat guy, clearly, right? Or maybe something about like ghosts and owls, like ghosts and owls hunting each
Ghosts
other.
and
I don't.
owls. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right.
Yeah, that could work.
Well, thank you, my friend. It was good to see you.
Good to see you.